promptly according to the Circle 7 in love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. If we are all able, can we all please rise and face the east for the Moorish American prayer? We do this with 2 fingers to the right, 5 to the left, feet in a 45-degree angle, standing on our square. And please repeat after me. Allah, the Father of the universe, the Father of love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. Allah is my protector, my guide, and my salvation. By night and by day, through his holy prophet, through Ali. Amen. I like to announce this meeting is open. I rise and give the highest praise to the Most High Father God Allah. Honors to our divine prophet, Noble Drew Ali, for bringing us our divine creed and nationality so that we may learn to love instead of hate. Honors to our forerunner, Marcus Mosiah Garvey, for preparing the way for our prophet. Honors to all Adab sheiks and all faithful Moors that make up the grand body of the Moorish and divine and national movement. Honors to the first Supreme Grand Sheikh. Honors to our Supreme Grand Sheikh, our Supreme Grand Sheikh, Kinu Umar Bey. Honors to our Grand Sheikh. Honors to our charter. Honors to our chapter in our charter. Honors to all Muslims on the call. Honors to all members, all Muslims on the planet. Brother Secretary Jackson Bey, can you?
To the Prophet Ali, honor to the forefathers and foremothers, and honor to the Asiatic nations and the Muslims all over the world. Salvation, Allah, unity. The Moorish Science Temple of America, the Divine Constitution and Bylaws. Act 1. The Grand Sheikh and the Chairman of the Moorish Science Temple of America is empowered to make law and enforce law with the assistance of the Prophet and the Grand Body of the Moorish Science Temple of America. The Assistant Grand Sheikh is to assist the Grand Sheikh in all affairs as he lives according to love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice, and is known before the members of the Moorish Science Temple of America. Act 2. All means are to be opened and closed promptly according to the Circle 7 in love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. Friday is our holy day of rest, because on a Friday the first man was formed of flesh, and on a Friday the first man departed out of flesh and ascended unto his Father God Allah. For that cause, Friday is a holy day for all Muslims all over the world. Act 3. Love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice must be proclaimed and practiced by all members of the Moorish Science Temple of America. No member is to put in danger or accuse falsely his brother or sister on any occasion at all that may harm his brother or sister, because Allah is love. Act 4. All members must preserve these holy and divine laws, and all members must obey the laws of the government, because by being a Moorish American, you are part and parcel of the government and must live life accordingly. Act 5. This organization of the Moorish Science Temple of America is not to cause any confusion or to overthrow the laws and constitution of the said government, but to obey hereby. Act 6. With us, all members must proclaim their nationality, and we are teaching our people their nationality and their divine creed, that they may know that they are part and parcel of this said government, and know that they are not Negroes, colored folks, black people, or Ethiopians, because these names were given to slaves by slave holders in 1779 and lasted until 1865 during the time of slavery. But this is a new era of time now, and all men now must proclaim their free national name to be recognized by the government in which they live and the nations of the earth. This is the reason why Allah, the great God of the universe, ordained Noble Drew Ali, the prophet, to redeem his people from their sinful ways. The Moorish Americans are the descendants of the ancient Moabites who inhabited the northwestern and southwestern shores of Africa. Act 7. All members must promptly attend their meetings and become part and parcel of all uplifting acts of the Moorish Science Temple of America. Members must pay their dues and keep in line with all necessities of the Moorish Science Temple of America, then you're entitled to the name of faithful. Husband, you must support your wife and children. Wife, you must obey your husband and take care of your children and look after the duties of your household. Sons and daughters must obey father and mother and be industrious and become part of the uplifting of fallen humanity. All Moorish Americans must keep their hearts and minds filled with love and their bodies clean with water. This divine covenant is from your holy prophet, Noble Drew Ali, through the guides of his father God Allah. Noble Drew Ali, founder of Moorish American prayer, Allah, the Father of the universe, the Father of love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. Allah is my protector, my guide, and my salvation by night and by day, through his holy prophet, Drew Ali. Amen. The Moorish Science Temple of America, home office of Noble Drew Ali, home office, Chicago, Illinois, U.S. A. Islamism. Happy Holy Day. Yep, peace and love.
Islamism, and gratitude, brother. Sister Lasser L, if you are able to, can you please read the additional laws for the Moorish America?
Islam, I rise and give all praise to the great Father God Allah. I give honors to the Holy Prophet Noble Drew Ali. I give honors to Marcus Messiah Garvey, the forerunner to the Prophet. I give honors to all Muslims on the call, all Muslims around the world. Questionnaire and additional laws for the Moorish Americans by the Prophet Noble Drew Ali. Act 1. Grand sheikhs and governors and heads of all temples, all business. Each said temple must be approved by the Prophet Noble Drew Ali. Before acted upon by any members, let it be finance, property, or any line of life that will cause the members to sacrifice finance, etc., that will cause the support of any group of members. Any formal officer that violates these laws is subject to be removed from his office under a heavy restriction, etc., by the prophet or the grand sheikh. Act 2. All members are to attend their EDUP meetings and their public meetings promptly. If a member is found standing around on the meeting period, shall be fined 50 cents on the first case, and on the second, he will be fined $1, which will go on your emergency fund. If member is working, his monthly dues must be paid, and if he has money in the bank, he must subscribe for as much as he is able to the Moorish uplifting funds, because it takes finance to uplift the nation. Act 3. It is the lawful and divine duty of every good member, if he is able in finance, to aid me in saving the nation, and if he does not, he is an enemy to the cause of uplifting his own people, and justice must catch you. Let it be he or she according to love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice, as I have the power invested in my hands, and I would have to enforce the law in order to save the nation. Act 4. All members, while making a public speech, must not use any assertion against the American flag or speak radical against the church or any member of any organized group, because we're to teach love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. Act 5. All members must promptly attend their meetings and send their children to Sunday school, and the teacher must conform himself to the questionnaire, and let every member exercise his 5 senses who is able to do so, because out from your Sunday school comes the guiders of the nation. Act 6. With us, all members must proclaim their nationality, and we're teaching our people their nationality and their divine creed, that they may know that they are a part and a parcel of this said government, and know that they are not Negroes, colored folks, Black people, or Ethiopians, because these names were given to slaves by slaveholders in 1779 and lasted until 1865 during the time of slavery. But this is a new era of time now, and all men now must proclaim their free national name to be recognized by the government in which they live and the nations of the earth. This is the reason why Allah, the great God of the universe, ordained Noble Drew Ali, the prophet, to redeem his people from their sinful ways. The Moorish Americans are the descendants of the ancient Moabites who inhabited the northwestern and southwestern shores of Africa. Act 7. All members must properly attend their meetings and become a part and a parcel of all uplifting acts of the Moorish Science Temple. Members must pay their dues and keep in line with all necessities of the Moorish Science Temple. Then you are entitled to the name of faithful. Husband, you must support your wife and children. Wife, you must obey your husband and take care of your children and look after the duties of your household. Sons and daughters must obey father and mother and be industrious and become part of the uplifting of fallen humanity. All Moorish Americans must keep their hearts and mind pure with love and their bodies clean with water. This divine covenant is from your holy prophet, Noble Drew Ali, through the guidance of his father God, Allah. Islam, peace and love.
Islam, sister, and gratitude. Prophet warns all Muslims to be read in every meeting. I hereby inform all members they must end all radical speeches while at work, in their homes, or on the streets. We are for peace and not destruction. Stop flashing your cards at Europeans. It causes confusion. Remember, your card is for your salvation. Failure to obey these orders will be a severe consequence. We are for love, truth, peace, freedom. And when these principles are violated, justice must then take its course. Any member or group of members who hold malicious feelings towards the temple or the prophet, or violate the divine covenant of the Moorish movement, will receive their rewards from Allah for their unjust deeds. All true Moors will and must obey the law laid down to them by their prophet. If they lose confidence in their prophet, they should turn in their card and button, cease wearing their turban and fez, and return to the state where I, the prophet, found you. This is a holy and divine movement founded by the prophet, noble Jew Ali, and the prophet is not right, the temple is not right. The prophet, therefore, is sending out a divine plea to all Moorish Americans. They do their part in protecting their prophet and the temple. This is an everlasting movement founded by the prophet through the will of Allah to redeem his people from their sinful ways. Peace, noble Jew Ali. To the members of the Moorish Science Temple of America, Islam, this is instructions from your prophet, noble Jew Ali. Be faithful unto your forefather divine and national creed, that you will be blessed for your good deeds that you sow in the flesh. Allah is the one that judges the world, and his judgment is, but the weak can comprehend it not. The end of times are drawing near, so says Allah to the divine prophet, I, noble Jew Ali, and that's why many hearts have turned to stone. Many have eyes to see, ears to hear but cannot hear, lest they'll be confounded of their sins. These are the trying hours now, dear Moors, and every evil spirit is moving, and they are trying every weak mind to overthrow and drag out the true foundation that has been laid, and to cause confusion in the minds of the ones that do believe. But if you have the true love of Allah and the spirit of your forefathers, you fear not what you hear or see, but will sacrifice the utmost of your very life to protect your movement and your prophet. Watch your enemies, dear Moors. Your enemies are the ones that speak against your prophet and ridicule him to the very lowest, and the ones that speak against your divine and national principles of your temples. Act accordingly, and Allah will bless you for your good work. Peace. Your divine prophet, noble Jew Ali. To the members of the Moorish Science Temple of America, Islam, I am glad to know I have a few faithful Moors among you all, and desire for them to know the truth and the divine truth. There's a host of jealousy about me and the movement now by the same people of our side of the nation that claimed that I was a joke and unreal. But now, since they found out from the government officials and the nations of the earth that this is the only sole foundation that all Asiatics must depend upon for their earthly salvation as American citizens, they are working everything that they can to disqualify me so they may take charge of the situation. I have notified all these things to you long ago in the past. It is through the faithful Moors that attribute to the movement and uplifting funds, the ones that pay their divine respects to me and the movement will be remembered. That is why I'm calling upon all faithful Moors to increase their faithfulness to me, your prophet, and your divine Moorish movement. I need finance, and I need it badly. Never before have I needed finance so badly as I do at present, so I can shove aside the discord that is facing the nation. It all comes through jealousy because of my fame and nobility. The nations of the world will not recognize the movement without I, the prophet, being head. It has been proven by my works, which I have performed in the past few years. Prophet, noble Jew Ali. Islam, 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 Islam. Grand Chief, if you are able to, can you read the divine warning by the prophet for the nation?
Islam. Oh, Islam, before we read the divine warning, I just wanted to ask for the sister that just called in, Kay, please let us know where you're calling from. If you're shy, oh, okay, yeah. Yeah. Also, please share your email and phone number in the chat, and we will reach out to you later, like after the class. Islam. A divine warning by the prophet for the nations. The citizens of all free national governments, according to their national constitution, are all of one family bearing one free national name. Those who fail to recognize the free national name of their constitutional government are classed as undesirables and are subject to all inferior names and abuses and mistreatments that the citizens care to bestow upon them. And it is a sin for any group of people to violate the national constitutional laws of a free national government and cling to the names and the principles that delude to slavery. I, the prophet, was prepared by the great God Allah to warn my people to repent from their sinful ways and go back to the state of mind, to their forefathers' divine and national principles, that they will be law-abiders and receive their divine right as citizens according to the free national constitution that was prepared for all free national beings. They are to claim their own free national name and religion. There is but one issue for them to be recognized by this government and of the earth, and it comes only through the connection of the Moorish divine national movement, which is incorporated in this government and recognized by all other nations of the world. And through it, they and their children can receive their divine rights, unmolested by other citizens, that they can cast a free national ballot at the polls under the free national constitution of the state's government, and not under a granted privilege, as has been the existing condition for many generations. You who doubt whether I, the prophet, and my principles are right for the redemption of my people, go to those that know the law, in the city hall, and among the officials in your government, and ask them under an intelligent tone, and they will be glad to render you a favorable reply. For they are glad to see me bring you out of darkness into light. Money doesn't make the man. It is free national standards and power that makes a man and a nation. The wealth of all national governments, gold and silver and commerce, belong to the citizens alone. And without your national citizenship, by name and principles, you have no true wealth. And I am hereby calling on all true citizens that stand for a national free government and the enforcement of the Constitution to help me in my great missionary work, because I need all support from all true American citizens of the United States of America. Help me to save my people who have fallen from the constitutional laws of the government. I am depending on your support to get them back to the constitutional fold again, that they will learn to love instead of hate, and will live according to love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice, supporting our free national constitution of the United States of America. I love my people, and I desire their unity and mine back to their own free national and divine standard, because day by day they have been violating the national and constitutional laws of their government by claiming names and principles that are unconstitutional. If Italians, Greeks, English, Chinese, Japanese, Turks, and Arabians are forced to proclaim their free national name and religion before the constitutional government of the United States of America, it is no more than right that the law should be enforced upon all other American citizens alike. In all other governments, when a man is born and raised there and asks for his national descent name, and if he fails to give it, he is misused, imprisoned, or exiled. Any group of people that fail to answer up to the constitutional standards of law by name and principles, because to be a citizen of any government, you must claim your national descent name, because they place their trust upon issue and names formed by their forefathers. The word Negro deludes in the Latin language to the word nigger, the same as the word colored deludes to anything that is painted, varnished, and dyed. And every nation must bear a national descent name of their forefathers, because honoring thy fathers and thy mothers, your days will be lengthened upon this earth. These names have never been recognized by any true American citizens of this day. Through your free national name, you are known and recognized by all nations of the earth that are recognized by said national government in which they live. The 14th and 15th Amendments brought the North and South in unit, placing the Southerners, who were at that time without power, with the constitutional body of power. And at that time, 1865, the free national constitutional law that was in force since 1774 declared all men equal and free. And if all men are declared by the free national constitution to be free and equal. Since that constitution has never been changed, there is no need for the application of the 14th and 15th Amendments for the salvation of our people and citizens. So, there isn't but one supreme issue for my people to use to redeem that which was lost, and that is through the above statements. Then the lion and the lamb can lie down together in yonder hills, and neither will be harmed, because love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice will be reigning in this land. In those days, the United States will be one of the greatest civilized and prosperous governments of the world. But if the above principles are not carried out by the citizens and my people in this government, the worst is yet to come. Because the great God of the universe is not pleased with the works that are being performed in North America by my people, and this great sin must be removed from the land to save it from enormous earthquakes, disease, etc. And I, the prophet, do hear and believe that this administration of the government, being more wisely prepared by more genius citizens that believe in their free national constitution and laws, and through the help of such classes of citizens, I, the prophet, truly believe that my people will find the true and divine way of their forefathers and learn to stop serving carnal customs and merely ideas of man that have never done them any good but have always harmed them. So I, the prophet, am hereby calling aloud with the divine plea to all true American citizens to help me to remove this great sin which has been committed and is being practiced by my people in the United States of America, because they know it is not the true and divine way, and without understanding they have fallen from the true light into utter darkness of sin. And there is not a nation on earth today that will recognize them socially, religiously, politically, or economically, etc., in their present condition of their endeavorment in which they themselves try to force upon a civilized world. They will not refrain from their sinful ways of action, and their deeds have brought Jim Crowism, segregation, and everything that brings harm to human beings on earth. And they fought the Southerner for all these great misuses, but I have traveled in the South and have examined conditions there, and it is the works of my people continuously practicing the things which bring dishonor, disgrace, and disrespect to any nation that lives the life. And I am hereby calling on all true American citizens for moral support and finance to help me in my great missionary work to bring my people out of darkness into marvelous light. From the prophet.
Islam and gratitude, Grand Sheikh. I would like to activate the Holy Koran of the Moorish Holy Temple of Science, Circle 7, divinely prepared by the noble prophet through Ali, by the guiding of his father, God Allah, the great God of the universe, to redeem man from his sinful and fallen stage of humanity back to the highest planes of life with his father, God Allah. Know thyself and Allah. The genealogy of Jesus, life and work of Jesus in India, Europe, and Africa, in the land of Egypt. Noble Jew Ali, the prophet and founder of the Moorish Holy Temple of Science, to redeem the people from their sinful ways. Islam, Islam, Islamism. We will be going over chapter 27, the keys that will be prepared by the Grand Sheikh. I would like to just go over real quickly. Let me find that. Our homework more. We had homework that was on Sunday on just concentrating on the past, on the 5 days or during the week, about any of the higher self virtues. And, you know, this is the jump on number 70 on the keys, on the one-on-ones about that. That is, what is the higher self? The higher self is the mother of virtue and the harmonies of life that breed justice, mercy, love, and right. And for me, let me find what I had wrote down each day. If I can still find it, bear with me more. Every just had it in front of me. Islam. I did Monday, benevolence, Tuesday, humility, Wednesday I did gratitude, Thursday I did order, and Friday today was mercy. I did those just off of just looking at all virtues of the higher self and what fell with me each day. So what fell with me each day, like Monday when it came to benevolence fell with me that day with the interaction of our fellow people in the world, you know, in society. And then Tuesday, of course, was humility. And I learned a little bit about humility about that. I'll just tell like, you know, little brief stories. I woke up and I just thought like, you know, humility hit me. So I opened myself just in tune to the higher self. Just, hey, just concentrate on the higher self and concentrate on humility. Humility could be anything, you know. To me, it was a lot of things that went through the day. It could be someone thinking that you're not doing what you're supposed to be doing while you're doing your toy. Man, you know, you look and kind of smile because you know what you're doing. And you lead it to the higher self instead of even going into that person. So that was one of those things like Tuesday. Gratitude. I felt that on Wednesday. It was the prophet's birthday, 139th year. So I felt like I'm just going to be, you know, grateful, gratitude about everything around me, everything that's going on, just standing the higher self with that. Order was Thursday. Let me get myself in order to prepare myself to hopefully present the best holy zeal that we can do for today, Friday, that mercy. And you know, and we hear that week has passed, that week is 1 year. We do know that in Moorish science, and we have got here. Now, before we go into the chapter 27 with the grand sheet, does anybody want to demonstrate their higher self during the week of the homework? Islam, I yield the floor.
Islam, brother chairman. I'll demonstrate real briefly. Just throughout the week, just quietly been working on gratitude. Kind of been slipping on that. You know, try to make sure do that. Well, this week, you know, at least waking up right every morning, and then also going to sleep at night. Just giving gratitude for everything, for all the little things that we take for granted, and that helps, you know, to keep that mentality throughout the day, and that really helps to calm things down if there's ever, you know, any situations might arise where usually you get upset or something like that. I seen like that takes all that away when you had that mentality of gratitude. And then on that note, I'm just go ahead and yield the floor, Islam.
Islam, and that was definitely a great measure. Anybody else? I mean, we was doing homework just even as in thought. More because, you know, as the thought is the cause of it all. Even in thought, even if, you know, you kind of just heard it, half-winged it, because we all here on Sunday school, that was the homework. Even if it was just one thing, that was what it was. Like even with the grand sheet, just gratitude for the whole week. Just how did you feel with the higher self? Because, you know, we need to know our lower self. That is a given. But to demonstrate on concentrating on the higher self, that, you know, that's what we were kind of trying to do the homework on, just to see how that felt in each other. Islam. So I yield the floor before we go into the chapter and the keys on that. Just if anybody else wanted to demonstrate.
Islam. Happy Holy Day, family. First and foremost, I'd like to rise and give perfect praise to our Father God Allah, honors to his prophet, Noble Ali, honors to the forerunner prophet, our brother Marcus Mosiah Garvey, Honors to the first appointed Supreme Grand Sheik, our brother Emily Ill. Honors to the current Supreme Grand Sheik, our brother Kino Umar Bey. And honors to everything Moorish and all you Muslims on the call. I do want to add, I found myself consciously working on me this week. And one of the things that I caught myself doing was just, quick to be mean about, like, I have clients coming in all the time for massages, and one of my clients is always late, no matter what. So I gave myself extra time in between this particular client and the next client, and she still ran over that extra time that I gave her, but she still expects her whole time. So, I just found myself, like, instead of getting angry or, you know, trying to make her feel bad about this, I was just calm and just let her know, like, there's other clients, like, and I was really nice about it. And I feel like, she really understood this time because I was doing it in love instead of hate. Like, I don't hate my clients at all in any way, shape, or form, but it is annoying when people are not mindful or respectful of the time that is assigned to them for services. Islam. So I did that and I meditated on it, and I felt really good, because I feel like instead of confronting her about it, I went within, and I feel like I fixed the problem on another plane. And I feel like the next time she comes, she's actually going to be on time, as long. So I feel like I'm actually taking, the problems that would make me, uneasy on an airplane on this 3D realm, and I'm taking it to, I'm taking it directly inside to Allah so that it could be fixed for real instead of, just doing this over and over again, because that's the definition of insanity, right? To do things over and over again, expecting, a different outcome, because she's been doing this for years and I've been getting angry for years and it's never changed. So now I definitely have faith that it is done. And I'm definitely going to keep you guys posted next time she is due to come in, so I can see if, the inside work works. Is not my other floor.
Islam and gratitude on that demonstration, and definitely keep us posted so we can see if that works. I didn't even want to go too much in depth in that when it came to gratitude and humility. Mine briefly was when it was humility was just I do HVAC and service. So I mean ice machines are easy, but ice machines it seems like you're not working. So if mainly we do restaurants, Darden's and our Red Lobsters and all those Olive Gardens and stuff like that, and Bahama Breeze. So if you're doing those restaurants and you're doing an ice machine, you got to wait for harvest, meaning like the ice to drop like 4 times, because in case something pops up that is like on your computer screen in there that something's wrong, it's gonna take like 4 cycles at least. But those cycles take like 30 to 45 minutes. Now you're just standing by the ice machine, listening and waiting. And you get people walk by, oh, I wish I had your job. You're getting the big bucks. I wish I had your job. And it's like, okay, kind of like, you listen like a scientist. I'm listening for stuff, but I don't even want to even break that down. So you just sit there and smile, peace, brother. Peace, sister, you know, and just kind of keep it moving and staying in that high vibration. And then even with that, I noticed that they see that. So it does kind of change it, because I could remember being in lower self and just cracking a joke back, something like that. And I learned even through the course of that in my more science to really stay on high. Don't let that, and really learn the words of what you're demonstrating so you can be what you know and not what you're told. Islam, and with that, I yield the floor before we go into the chapter.
Islam Moors, happy holy day. This week's demonstration for me was mercy and love. You know, a lot of people unfortunately move out of their lower self, and being able to show compassion in those moments instead of, wanting to tell them off or, get upset with them. This week I've been practicing to kind of slow my temper, slow my anger, slow my tongue, and meet people where they're at and practice forgiveness. Islam, I yield the floor.
Islam, and that is definitely a great demonstration. To me, that's one of the demonstrations I always go back and forth on the chapter on inconsistency. That's like something I work on myself with that a lot. Islam, so gratitude for that demonstration. And Islam, if there's no one else, Grand Sheik, are you ready?
Islam, brother.
Islam, brother.
All right, Islam, brother. Brother Steel Bay, I yield the floor.
Hey, Islam, brother. That'll be back on the call. I work on myself every day because trying tribulations out here is kind of hard. When I first came out here, I was one of the top medics in the city in New York, New Jersey. I came out here for a while to help my other half because of a medical condition to be in a warmer climate. So she got a position. I got my position out here. And it took a lot out of me to stay in my higher self. And I stayed in my higher self. As I told brother Grand Sheik that I got back into Moorish science after, because I guess it was just calling me saying you need to get back into yourself because you start going down to your lower self as they were putting you trials and tribulations. And no matter how hard I tried, I see all the negativity and everything else saying it's not right. But it's like something always kept trying to, drag you back, drag you back, drag you back. So after a while, they didn't want me to be in the system because I tried to update them and help them and tell them that you can't make me carbon copy of you because I came from a better system, a greater system that had more resources and more knowledge. But anyway, things happen. I didn't pass the little exam after the 2 years. Was down in the dumps, got a job from one of my wife's coworkers, and I built myself back up. I said, everything, get a chance to go back, I will go back. But see, Allah is great. One of the brothers from New York City. I worked all the boroughs, but in New York City, he was a doctor that came here, was in charge, asking me to come back. But I said I can't come back because if I go back, they would never listen to me as an instructor. And I go back, I mean enemies, because I didn't want to do what they want to do, and I fought against their ways and everything else. And a lot of them said, well, they did you wrong, but it's messed up, they won't take you back. But I said, you know what? It's up to Allah. I had one time to be a chief. Like, all right, I didn't take it. I stepped back, but then they said, oh, let's go back and be a dispatcher, go be a dispatcher paramedic. I said, maybe. When the time came up, my nephews, so guys, I call my nephews here, told me, we can see you do it. Just go for it. And I said, okay. So I prayed on it and kept praying on it. And out here, I did it a lot. I felt my temper sometimes, not so much, but it's a work in progress always. And doing my homework here, I always look back and I remember what the Grand Sheik and my brothers on the line and Paul has said in the past, and I held to it. So now I take the chance and things start looking up in other ways. I own my own flight business doing Uber and Lyft and everything else. I still teach. And I work as an audio engineer for an international company, but it's becoming a dead end. So I see this as a dead end. Every time something becomes a dead end, that means there's another door opening up for you. And ever since I got back to the temple and everything else, trying to change my ways, things slowly happen, even though still things just keep pulling you and dragging you back. So I still deal with temperance, balance, humility, and gratitude. Because on New Year's Eve, like on this island, everything popped off. A lot of people were injured and hurt. I met Wayne Brady and drove his friends and his family around for him. And he gave me an $80 tip. And their family was appreciative because he said, oh, come eat with us. I said, no, I don't want to eat. He said, come drink with you. I said, I'm Muslim, I don't really drink. I stay to myself. And they were racist for me because I sat there and I'm like, no, you go enjoy your family. I will wait for you. And like each family member just came over, kept giving me money and saying thank you and being gracious and kind to us. And they wanted to know a little bit more about me being a moron. Wayne Brady took a picture of me and he said, well, you're a great person. You're a great man. Keep on your walk. And I felt blessed after that. And I yield the floor to you. No,
Islam, great message.
no.
Islam, brother, definitely great measures. And I'm glad that you said what you said, especially about you know, just keeping your mind state or controlling your mind state, one opportunity coming to an end, and instead of going into fear, which is all coming from the lower self and it's not real. Some people say fear is an acronym for false evidence appearing real. But, regardless of what, people say, we know it's not real. It's all being fed by this temporary shadow of the higher self, the carnal mind. And so instead of going into fear, lack, you know, creating your own hell, you're steadfast. Another opportunity's coming. So, that's you sharing the keys with us all. We always have to hold fast and control our mind state. That's all we really have to do is control our mind, control our emotions. That's really the work that we're doing here. The prophet gave us these keys and he said, take these instructions and save yourself. Islam, I yield the floor.
Islam, definitely. And then I noticed when you do work on high, and me and the Sheikhs, we conversate about that a lot. When you work on high, and I've been studying stuff too when it comes to like, again, it's more we scientists. So you got a body, you got a soul, and you got a spirit. And we all know, or we don't know, I'll let you know. We are spirit man. So this body, it is gonna leave. This vehicle gonna leave. But that spirit man, I don't leave. I just keep changing. I just keep growing. So what I'm basically trying to break down is just being on high, so doing the lower self is the practices on earth for the next level. And it actually makes you a better person on this level, always constituting and going on high because it's a magnetic force. Everything is electric and magnet. And if you do notice that positive thought, and I believe certain scientists, you Google up positive and negative thought. Positive thought is like 5,000 times stronger than like a negative thought. So you do know how the prophet says that your lower self is just a shadow. That would kind of equate to that science of the lower self being 5,000 times weaker than the positive self, the positive thought, the higher self. Islam. So I just wanted to just leave that little bit out there like that, just to research and study that. Just as far as when it comes to the realm of it, and we should bring it back again. Just talk about a little bit on being on high, staying on high. Everybody get like a little report, because you always gonna get played with the lower self. The lower self is always needing to be subdued, kind of like having pets. Islam, while you're on the floor.
All right, Islam, gratitude, brother. Let's go ahead and go into chapter 27 today. Before we do, though, I rise and give the highest praise to our creator, sustainer, our Father God, Allah. I extend honors to our divine prophet, Noble Drew Ali, for bringing us out of desolation into marvelous, glorious salvation. And I extend honors to the forerunner to the prophet, our dear brother, Marcus Mosiah Garvey, a modern day John the Baptist. I extend honors to all Moorish leaders, past and present, including but not limited to the national leadership, our Supreme Grand Sheikh, Brother Kenu Bey, and his staff. And I extend honors to all the faithful, all members of the Moorish Science Temple of America, number 30, Columbus, Ohio, but also and especially the faithful Muslims here on this holy day. You're holding to the holy day. You're not getting distracted. You're not doing all the other stuff you could be doing right now. So we're gonna get into it. We're not gonna make this all long and drawn out, but give honors to you. And just what the brother chairman just shared, man, is powerful. Speaking about this, our life in this physical world is a school. It's class. We're supposed to be learning, growing, and evolving spiritually. And so we don't know that, or most of us don't know that. We're not taught that. We're not getting that message. It might be hidden in some of the shows and video games, but nobody's coming out and just being direct and telling us this and showing us how to be the greater versions of ourselves. So if we're here in this world with all these distractions and all of these other things that aren't really bringing out a lot in us, but we're still, even in this world where we have this carnal mind that is such a foe that is like so strong, but we're still doing that work to bring out Allah in us, to connect to spirit, this thing that's invisible, this spirit which is connected to the Creator, to go ahead and do that work to subdue our carnal mind, to subdue this foe and overcome it. So what do you think? Where do you think that will put you in the next level? As you graduate, right? Because we know that man does not die, right? We don't really die. We just change form. So when you graduate and go to the next level, you're doing the work here. Where you're going, it's going to be even easier because you did it here in this physical world where it's kind of harsh and hard, where everything's vibrating slower, where it's kill or be killed. We have to eat something. Even if we're eating plants, vegetables, we're still eating something that's alive, right? There's kind of no way around it, unless you're getting your energy straight from the sun. But let's go ahead and go into chapter 27. And before we really talk about this, I just want to ask a question from you, Morris. Morris, please participate, please. I want to know, what are your thoughts and ideas on chapter 27, the holy unity of the rich and the poor? Even if you've never read this chapter before, just going off of, if you've been in some meetings before, you know how we teach, how we approach things. What do you think of this? Why do you think the prophet put a chapter in here called the holy unity of the rich and the poor? And I just want to yield the floor, and Morris, please, especially members of Temple 30, just share your thoughts. Why do you think the prophet put this chapter in here? And I'll yield the floor to you, Morris, please. Please share your thoughts.
Islam, Grand Sheikh, Islam. This one here. First of all, I'd like to give perfect and all praise to the great God Allah, honor to our prophet Noble Drew Ali. The holy meaning perfect, the holy unity of the rich and poor. Just that in that statement right there is letting you know that, and again, money does not make a man. So when it comes to rich and poor, what rich are you? And then what poor are you? And then this chapter was so deep to me because it shows a back and forth to where, say, the rich isn't like the rich that is portrayed on TV and social media. It is a different type of rich. That's why I'm just going to save this. If people have not read this chapter, I'm going to save that part, especially I'm a green light number 2, key number 2, and then I'm going to leave that one alone. But Islam, I yield the floor to anybody else. But this is definitely a great chapter going back and forth of state of mind, really, high and lower self, because it really is that. Islam, I use the floor.
Islam, I like to rise and give Allah the highest of praises and extend honors to our Prophet, Noble Drew Ali, and to all the Moors on the call. So, what I get from this chapter here, because when I first read the verse when it says, "The man whom Allah have given riches and blessed with a mind to employ them aright is peculiarly favored and highly distinguished." And so, you know what I'm saying, just thinking of my thoughts, I'm like thinking like, why is this just written here like that? Because it's just talking about somebody like Allah's favor. And so when I got to reading the other ones, then it says, he looketh on his wealth with pleasure because it afforded him the means to do good. And so I got this from two ways. And so basically it states this and how, you know, saying Allah's favor is being given. But to me, it's saying basically you got to have a mindset to get Allah's favor, because it's telling you like all through the chapter, it's telling you how to interact with the poor people. So it's basically like a mindset. And also, you know, because you got, so basically you have all this wealth, you have responsibilities. And also something else I wanted to add with this here. And so, and also too, I think as well too, that it shows that if you want to get, you know what I'm saying, to be a candidate to get Allah's blessings, you must have the same mindset. So basically it's a mindset of having the riches and how you interacting with the poor. So it's just basically, you know what I'm saying, the pros and the cons of being rich, because if you got all this money, and I think somewhere in the chapter it says something about you doing the wrong thing with your money and oppressing the poor with it. So basically it says woe to him or something like that. And that's basically what I get from it. It's just a mindset that you got to have to have riches. And with that, I give up the mic.
Okay, not to take up too much time, if there's no one else to share their thoughts, let's go ahead and go into this. I want to say gratitude to everyone for sharing your thoughts on this. Everyone's on point. We're looking at chapter 27, and you know, every chapter in here has a very practical purpose, right? A very practical meaning that you know, you could read each chapter and maybe just take your time and you can get the practical meaning from it. You don't have to be you don't have to have certain degrees or have been studying for a certain amount of time. You can get that meaning, right? And so there's a practical meaning, and then there's also a spiritual or a metaphysical meaning that might not be as apparent unless you're used to kind of decoding the spiritual message that is in the scriptures. And today we're going to focus on the spiritual meaning. But just, you know, just briefly looking at this chapter 27, the prophet put this in here obviously for a reason. The holy instructions of the rich and the poor. So this is giving us instructions for building our community. And it's reminding Moorish Americans of their collective duty to foster unity and justice. Right? There is no unity if we ignore these instructions. Everybody's always talking about unity, and there's no justice in society if the rich can get their way. And what type of society are we living in today? We're living in a society today where if you think the government and all these people are doing what they're supposed to do to take care of you, unfortunately, that means you're a fool, because they're not, right? They're allowing poisons to be put in the water that everyone drinks. They're allowing all types of things to happen. They're red 40 and yellow 5 and whatever, blue, whatever else, these chemicals that are allowed to be put in the food, that you can look at the list of countries. Countries in Europe and all over the world do not allow that. It's poison. No red 40 over here, no yellow 5 over here. But here in the United States of America, it goes, right? So actually there's people who are high, who are wealthy, and they're like, okay, we want to kill off a certain amount of population. We want to experiment. We want to do this and that. And they're allowed to do it, right? So the prophet is giving us real practical instructions for building our community instead of just copying and pasting what the pale-skinned nations of Europe are doing over here. So there's no way around this. If you're trying to build a community with us, if you don't abide by these divine laws, if you don't hold to it, we don't really want nothing to do with you. No offense, because we still want to assist our people and help and show it by being a better example. Not saying we against you, but just saying if you don't want to abide by these divine laws, I don't care what you look like. There ain't really much we can do together. You definitely not gonna be like in our society as some kind of mayor or something like that where you're making you know calling shots and stuff like that. No, no, we go off of these laws, these spiritual laws. They supersede man-made laws, right? And so then there's also a spiritual purpose in there as well, right? And in there, he's emphasizing that material wealth or poverty, these are both tests of character, and they're both opportunities for growth. So it's not like this is a punishment if somebody doesn't have a lot of money, a lot of wealth, right? And it's not, not either way, it's not a punishment. But these are tests for all of us to strengthen us, that we're all given so that we can become stronger, right? So that we can be the strength of Allah made manifest. And that's the truth. Real deal. Islam, before I go on, I see you, Brother Kobe. I yield the floor. Islam.
Islam, Grand Sheikh, I just wanted to come back and add too that, like, when it comes to rich and poor as well, just like growing up, you know what I'm saying? We grew up under the black Negro color, and we grew up a black Negro color. Everybody was poor and stuff like that, and things like that too. And when it comes to even with Haynes L saying the state of mind, if you tie all that together, what the prophet was saying, it points right in this that it really all is a state of mind that we have to overcome. We are all rich, like how the prophet said. Moors are just plain rich, but that's more like in the literature. And also, when he looked at his own wealth and his pleasures because he afforded the means to do good, that's uplifting the fallen humanity in itself. And Islam, I just yield the floor on that.
Islam, brother. Yeah, you're definitely right and exact. Before we move forward, just want to ask for the caller that just called in, Moises, would you please let us know where you're calling from? If you're trying to speak, if you're on the phone, you have to tap the screen so that you can unmute the mic. Islam. All right. Also, if you don't want to talk, you're shy, it's all good. Just please type your location and share your email and phone number in the chat so that members our officers can reach out to you later on after our meeting. Islam, brother. All right, just type your location, email, and phone number in the chat. Islam. Okay, so going into chapter 27, we want to explore the deeper spiritual meaning. We're actually going to do a verse by verse breakdown, and going into the metaphysical meaning, what's really being said here. We want everybody to understand the purpose of unity between the rich and the poor, right? And to be able to understand why this is relevant in our daily lives. Okay. So this chapter is addressing wealth and humility and unity, but it's also giving the lessons, right? The responsibilities of both the rich and the poor in creating a just and harmonious society. So it's not just on one. So let's go in here. Chapter 27, the holy unity of the rich and the poor. And just one more time to the brother Moises, please make sure you share your location and your email and phone number in the chat. If not, we'll have to place you back in the waiting room. All right, so please share that in the chat. But going back in here, verse 1. The man to whom Allah hath given riches and blessed with a mind to employ them all right is peculiarly favored, right? And highly distinguished. He looketh on his wealth with pleasure, because it affordeth him the means to do good. So right there is letting it be known that this person is blessed with the responsibility of being wealthy. He's not saying, oh, he's blessed with riches so you can buy a whole bunch of stuff. He's also got a responsibility, right? It says in there, Allah gave him riches, blessed him with the mind to employ them in the proper manner. And that person is peculiarly favored and highly distinguished. All right. It afforded him the means to do good, to assist others. This is letting it be known that wealth is a divine trust, and the ability to use it for good reflects you having spiritual favor. Islam, gratitude for sharing the information. So that shows that you have spiritual favor, right? You're favored, you're distinguished. Now, remember, we're not just talking about the wealthy or not just talking about the poor. We're talking about both. We all have responsibilities within our society as Moorish Americans. So we need to know this. And I want to go into why this is being stated in this manner. Okay. So when we look into Surah 2, Ayat 177 in the Holy Koran of Mecca, pull that up on the screen real quick. Surah 2, if you're taking notes, just jot that down. Surah 2, Ayat 177. Remember, too, not just saying any of this stuff just for no reason, right? All of this is important for each and every one of us to understand, right? So Surah 2, Ayat 177, in here, the words of Allah say, righteousness is not in turning your face towards the east or the west. Rather, the righteous are those who believe in Allah, the last day, the angels, the books, and the prophets, who give charity out of their cherished wealth to relatives, orphans, the poor, needy travelers, beggars, and for freeing captives, who establish prayer, pay alms tax, and keep the pledges they make. What is alms tax? Establish prayer, right? They're bringing out good into the world. They're assisting, right? The zakat, alms tax. Now this is mandatory, right? In Islam, I would say for Arabs, right? Not saying that we don't have to do this as well, but I'm reading the Quran. I'm just sharing this zakat, this giving charity, money to the poor or the needy, right? And it's mandatory. So they have to pay the alms tax and keeping the pledges they make. You say you're going to do this, you have to do it. And who are patient in times of suffering, adversity, and in the heat of battle. Patient when it's getting hard to be patient. It is they who are true in faith. It is they who are mindful of Allah. Now remember, this is what the righteous do, who, you give out of the charity out, of your wealth. You share, you're assisting to make life better, to make, to help others and to setting a good example, right? Showing the way to what? To Allah. Okay. And I'm sharing this for a reason. So these were the instructions from the Prophet Muhammad. And this was, divine instructions from Allah. In general, this is, should be applied to all of humanity. That's why I'm saying we shouldn't be absolved from zakat, donating to charity and stuff either. This should be instruction for all of humanity, right? Because it's emphasizing righteousness, right? Is giving wealth to help others. To be better. So wealth is also, this is how it's a test of character, right? Because it says in here, the joy, right, in wealth comes from using it to do good. It afforded him the means to do good. What you're supposed to do with it, bringing more good into the world, right? Not just buying a bunch of boats and and not knocking what people do with their money is theirs, but just buying a bunch of planes and all this stuff. Not Not knocking it either, just saying it's about really being able to do more good. Right now, you can assist people in ways that you could never have done before. Right. So wealth is actually supposed to be, the substance of spirit, encouraging us to, to channel divine abundance in a wise manner, actually assisting. And here's something too that a lot of people don't know, but even the wicked practice this. They practice these wealth principles to ensure that their wealth will keep growing. And this is why you'll see people like Bill Gates, Bill and Melinda Gates, right? Like he's one of the richest men in the world. And what does he do now? Is he still Microsoft, man? He got people to run that for him. He don't really mess with that. He's all about charity, philanthropy. So all of these billionaires, right, and multimillionaires, they're all philanthropists. Philanthropy is charity. They all start these charities. They're just giving away money, and it doesn't make them poorer because they're practicing these divine principles in their favor. Now I say the wicked because they're wicked. They're not doing right, but they're practicing these divine principles, whether you like it or not. They start charities, right? They have things that, actually pay for people to go to school for free, right? Provide clothes and stuff. They actually really have real charities that are helping people, whether we see them or not, right? A lot of times they'll go do it in other countries too that really need help, even more than we do in the United States. But I'm just saying this because some people are doing it out of the kindness of their hearts. They really do have causes. Maybe they came from poverty and now they want to help people who, suffer through whatever they suffered through. Maybe they were homeless at a point in time. So they make sure they help the homeless. Right. And that's genuine. That's somebody who's using it to do more good, do things they wish they had growing up. But I'm just sharing this because you have people that, use these principles for their own good because they understand it. This is real, right? That's the responsibility of the wealthy to society to assist. And these instructions are being given to us because the prophet is preparing for something that's even greater. So we have to practice this no matter how much money you're making, because, hey, if you want to make more money, give more, assist more. It also changes your mindset from one of being a taker to being a giver. Okay, but let's move on to verses 3-8. He protecteth the poor that are injured. He suffereth not the mighty to oppress the weak. He seeketh out objects of compassion. He inquireth into their wants. He relieveth them with judgments and without ostination. He assisteth and rewardeth merit. Right? Assisting and rewarding. He encourage ingenuity and liberally promoteth every useful design. He carrieth his own great works. His country is enriched and the labor is employed. He formeth new schemes and the arts receive improvement. Okay. And actually, let me scale it back a little bit. Verses 3-4. He protecting the weak, right? Protecting the weak and also aiding the needy. Why? Because true wealth lies in serving others. That's another thing too. If we go to Surah 107 in the Holy Koran of Mecca, go to Surah 107. Just going to go to the whole chapter, right? So when you go to Surah 107, it says, have you seen the one who denies the final judgment? Have you seen the one who denies the final judgment? That is the one who repulses the orphan and who does not encourage the feeding of the poor. So woe to those hypocrites who pray yet are unmindful of their prayers. Those who only show off and refuse to give even the simplest aid, right? So this surah is just speaking about, and it's actually speaking against those who neglect the orphans and neglect the needy, those who are not assisting to help others that are in need, like genuinely in need, right? Is making it known like we have to have humility. We have to be able to assist others, right? And this is the duty, or these are duties of those who are wealthy. Then we go to 5 and 6, right? We have to support progress, support ingenuity. He encouraged ingenuity and liberally promoteth every useful design, right? We're assisting progress, the community, the society to progress, to move forward, right? So this is actually, guiding entrepreneurs in our communities, right? We're not looking down, we're not feeling threatened by others, the ingenuity of others. Somebody maybe you're thinking they're smarter or they shine brighter than you. We're not looking at it like that. And if you have the means to assist them to make it where they can take whatever they're doing to the next level, you're doing it, right? I saw this person, I don't remember where he was. He was in Africa somewhere, maybe Senegal or somewhere like that. And this dude, he had created, oh man, I completely forgot what it was. Sorry, I just got distracted. He had created something based off solar power, and it was amazing. And I'm sorry, I can't remember the details, but he created it just out of basics, stuff that he had around him. He didn't have a laboratory and all of this stuff with high-tech equipment where he could make it to the level where it needs to be. But it's still amazing that he did it. And I'm just saying, the wealthy are supposed to assist people like that, to recognize it, to honor it, to help them take it to the next level, right? We're supposed to support that, support the progress, right? And then also verses 7 through 8, he considers the superfluities of his table as belonging to the poor of his neighborhood, and he defraudeth them not. So he don't defraud them. He don't hide it. You're supposed to assist. You got all this extra overflow. All right. The benevolence of his mind is not checked by his fortune. He rejoiceth, therefore, in riches, and his joy is blameless. Right. So we're sharing wealth blamelessly and joyfully. We're sharing it. Recognizing this surplus actually belongs to the poor. You were blessed with this surplus because you have the mind, the right mind, right? You're in your higher self. You're to share it. You're to help assist. And I said this before, that the wicked actually utilize these divine principles, right? Or maybe warp it, but they utilize it to their own good because they actually do have philanthropy organizations set up to really help people for real, right? They do that, and it increases their wealth. Even though you hear people like Bill Gates say he's trying to give away, billions or millions and billions of dollars, but it's not stopping that flow of wealth into his life, right? So just going to verses 9. But woe unto him that heapeth up wealth in abundance, and rejoiceth alone in the possession thereof, that grindeth the face of the poor, and considereth not the sweat of their brows. He driveth on oppression without feeling. The ruin of his brother disturbeth him not. The tears of the orphan he drinketh as milk. The cries of the widow are music to his ears. His heart hardened with the love of wealth. No grief or distress can make impression upon it, but the curse of iniquity pursueth him. He liveth in continual fear. The anxiety of his mind and the rapacious desires of his own soul take vengeance upon him for the calamities he has brought upon others. And this is also why we're not going to be all worried about, well, those people, they're wicked. What's going to happen to them? They're doing all these bad things. What? Dude, they live in fear. They're in fear of being exposed. They're in fear of when the truth comes out. They're in fear of the fact that no matter what they do now, the truth is being exposed. They're in fear of the public ripping them apart. And they're in fear. They have bunkers underground that they can go to try to hide in. And they know that's not good enough. They can't even really be around each other because they will kill each other. So they don't really have any place to go. And so it would be foolish and a waste of your time, your mind power. You need to control your mind and what you give your focus to, because that's where your power lies. It would be a waste of time for you to be sitting around worrying about all of these people in Illuminati and what's going to happen to them. How is that empowering you, right? You see what they get if they're not really doing this for, for the right reasons. They're actually prisoners of their own fear. So who cares, right? Going to verses 9 through 12, it's showing you the danger, spiritually, the danger of greed and of oppression, actually, making life harder on others when you're blessed with this opportunity to be able to assist people. And that's why some of them try to cover it up with the charities, right? And then their eternal torment of greed. It doesn't even end in this life. It follows them. Because that's another reason why we want to take the high road in this life. Now that you are here, you can never ignore this. You can say, "Oh, I ain't going to no more temple meetings." You can't ignore it. Something in you is like waking up, want to know the truth, wanting to do the right thing, wanting to align with your higher self. So now that means that if you try to go and ignore this, you know more than the average person. So that means that you have an extra burden on you. Just like the wealthy, they have an extra burden. You are to assist society, not take from, right? And so that's going to follow them even into the next realm. After they leave here, their soul is not going to be free from, they're going to have to pay for what they've done. Okay? And so, us too, you have an extra burden on you. You have to take the higher road. We always show those pictures in here showing the Moorish men and women with the higher and lower self on their shoulders. And we show them in here for a reason. You can't come in here and then like just leave and act like you just a regular person. I'm gonna go be a demon tomorrow. I'm gonna be a beast mode. You go in beast mode, you're going to pay for that. Okay, maybe the next person, it's not going to be as harsh for them to overcome, to grow, and to advance. But you know better. So if you're going beast mode and you know what the average person don't know, don't you think maybe you got a little more responsibility on you? There is no turning your back on this. But hey, if that's what you want to do, you can handle it. But I'm just saying it ain't gonna be easy. Right? So we have to go high. This is why the prophet put this in here for us. And maybe this is why you're here. Even maybe you knew this already. And you just had it to hear it again. Like there's no turning your back on the prophet. Right? He knows what's in you, and he's trying to help you bring it out, to bring out Allah. Because that's what spirit is. That's what spirit man is. That's what higher self is. It's Allah in man. Right? Man meaning, men and women. So yeah, these people who are greedy, they're in torture, right? Internal torture. They live in fear. So there's nothing to be jealous of. Going on to verses, let's go on and finish this out, verses 14 through 22. Oh, what are the miseries of poverty in comparison with the gnawings of this man's heart? Let the poor man comfort himself. Yes, rejoice, for he hath many reasons. He sitteth down to his morsel in peace. His table is not crowded with flatterers and devourers. Okay? There's a simplicity and peace in, being in that position, right? Poverty is offering freedom from all these distractions, all this materialism, all these things, right? There's a hadith where the Prophet Muhammad said, richness is not having many possessions, but richness is being content with oneself, right? So you don't have to deal with all that stuff. And people who, sit at your own table, meaning these could be your own, your own family, right? The person you married, the people you got around you is crowded with flatterers and devourers. They will devour you because they live off of you. Okay? It's not cool having an entourage. They eating off of you and they will eat you alive. Okay. He is not embarrassed with a train of dependence, nor teased with the clamors of solicitations. Debarred from the dainties of the rich, he escapeth also their diseases. The bread that he eateth is not so sweet to his taste, is not so sweet to his taste. The water he drinketh is not so pleasant to his thirst, yea, far more delicious water than the richest draughts of the luxurious. His labor preserveth his health, and procureth him a repose to which the downy bed of sloth is a stranger. Right? So you're working for your money, right? And it preserves your health. This dude, this Rothschild, I think his name was David Rothschild. He had like 8 heart transplants. Now, sure, maybe he lived to be like 90 or something like that. But 8 heart transplants, like, what? That's ridiculous, right? So health is a huge part of wealth, and people can't buy that, right? So health and just being satisfied, right? Actually being happy and healthy, right? Simple living versus luxurious living, needing all this stuff, right? Having to take care of you, taking care of all these people. They all living off of you. And that's embarrassing because they're you know, they don't really have dignity. And you know, you don't want to look at them and see them like that. It's not cool. Right? And then contentment is also a source of joy. Right? Because that brings us into, you know, humility. That aligns us with our higher aspects of ourselves. And then verse 22, let not the rich therefore presume on his riches, nor the poor in his poverty yield to despondence. For the providence of Allah dispenseth happiness to them both. So this isn't saying, oh, the rich are evil or the poor look down on them. None. I'm saying contentment, right? That's a source of joy. There's no need to be jealous of anyone, what anyone else has, because the providence of Allah dispenseth happiness to them both, right? It's no rich versus poor. There's no reason to look down on people or different people from different, you know, um, yeah, walks of life, right? It should be mutual respect. It should be, you know, honor and unity and mutual respect between, you know, different social economic groups, different walks of life. We can work together, and we understand the the duties that we all have. So no one's looking at someone else coveting what they have, or you know, well, I'll do this if I was that person. No, no, right there. There's actually happiness right here where you're already at, right now. We don't have to covet anyone. And this is how unity can be achieved. And this is how we can create, because we don't want to copy and paste and repeat the society we're already living in. This is a Roman, pale skinned European society that we're in. And there's nothing wrong not talking bad about people, but just being honest. This is foreign to us, but we've bought into it. And that's the mindset that the people have. And that's why, you know, it doesn't matter if somebody pops on a fez or pops on a turban or what, you know, I'm a Moor, you know, I saw this. Yeah, I think this information is true. I'm a Moor. Okay, great. That's a good start. Now get on these divine instructions and start applying this to your life. Because if you're not, you're just a nigga that claims to be a Moor, and the bad habits and things that we have, you can't be bringing that into our society. Everything we've learned from Rome is trash. We don't want a Negro Moor version of trying to think of one of these. Oh gosh, man, George Soros. If you know who George Soros is, we don't need that. You know, we don't need anybody. You know, there's a billionaire, you know, wealthy billionaire who does a whole bunch of stuff in the world, good and bad, right? Mostly bad. We don't need that. We don't need any of that. It's time to come all the way in and be Moorish American, be Moorish American Muslim, right? We have to do this because if we're just copying what we've learned, it's going to be, hell on earth. All right. And that's not what we're trying to copy, paste, and repeat. I see the sister Douglas. I'll yield the floor to you.
Islam. I just want to add to that because living abroad in Brazil, it's so-called third world country. We noticed that, America sees places like Brazil as poor, and then we go there, and then we see like these people are wealthy. They live in paradise for one. Yeah, it's harsh living because you know the mind state of the people have been distorted so much to where and also the government is not that good. They don't put the money that they're receiving back into the community, so the people actually had to make their own homes and their own communities, and that takes a lot of courage and hard work. And so the people and the culture is based on them doing for self. So on top of living in tropical climate where there's fruit trees all throughout the city, all over the country. You can just walk down the street and pick a mango. We have banana plants in our yard. You can, just walk down the street and get fresh coconut water. And the people are healthier for that. They're stronger, they live longer, and the work ethic is there. And so we see we've seen all that, and it made us, really open our minds and our hearts to understand, like, you know, why are we calling these people poor? Because they're not from America and they don't live like us. They don't have, Section 8, you know, project, public housing. They don't have all those things. Everything that they had, their so-called poor, favela neighborhood, it was built by their own hands. In our neighborhood, it was considered middle class, and it was still poor for American standards. But the men in that community, they have big hills all over Brazil. They literally got together and bought concrete to make steps for the elders not to struggle going up and down the hills, because at the top of the hill is where the market is. Everybody goes to the market for food every day. And so we've seen this, and it's like, we brought those principles back, and, joining the temple and understanding these lessons and applying them. It's like, yes, we cannot, even think that people who don't live like us or don't have what we might consider, riches is mostly material things that don't even matter. You know, the more materials you have, the poorer you are. There's people here in America and all over the world who's making six figures plus, millionaires, but they're living paycheck to paycheck because their cost of living is just as high as the money that they're receiving, you know, every 2 weeks. And so we have to break the habit of looking at things the way we were programmed to look, and to actually understand that the wealth definitely comes from the mindset. And, that puts us back into the science of giving back, the charity, and the tithing. Everything in this world functions with a give and receive, from the oceans, the waves, everything, currency. You have to give, something in order to receive something. And so this definitely helps to put this science in a proper perspective and help us to understand how to apply this in our everyday lives so we can be in alignment, to be happy and grateful to give, because we know that we're going to receive tenfold, not from man, from our good deeds from Allah. Islam, I yield the floor.
Islam, sister, gratitude. I'm glad you brought that up, and shared that from living in Brazil. I also want to say Islam to Brother Yabe in the chat. Gratitude for saying that about charity. That is one of the holy instructions from the Holy Prophet. We're going to be going over those instructions, chapter 32, holy instructions from the Prophet. Charity. Don't know why I didn't say that, but gratitude for pointing that out. And what the sister was saying about Brazil, I just wanted to hit on that real quick because we did live overseas in Brazil for 5 years, and there's a lot of things in it. Like that's an Asiatic nation. Like most of the people, most of the real Brazilians are dark skinned. People they if they lived here, they would be called African Americans, and like they're the most oppressed. They're the majority of the population, and they being taken advantage of and oppressed by people that are wealthier that manipulate and utilize the government to service their own needs. And so it's not, it pushes them to the back. And I just wanted to go back over some verses. The tears of the orphan, he drinketh as milk, right? The cries of the widow are music to his ears. His heart hardened with the love of wealth. No grief or distress can make impression upon it. People that are freaking in destitute situations, right? It don't even make these people flinch. But the curse of iniquity pursueth him. He liveth in continual fear. The anxiety of his mind and the rapacious desires of his own soul take vengeance upon him for the calamities he has brought upon others. And we've witnessed this, like, there's, the communities, the poor communities there, that's where like the sewage and waste and all that stuff is, right? And the people there, this. I mean, the sister said, you got the fruit growing from the trees and all that. And that's good. That's true too. But also, the poor are put in the worst conditions, and it's like it's not good, right? And they're in conditions too where they're putting drugs and stuff in those communities so they can fight it out and kill each other and all that stuff. And so, all that's done by design. And I just want to say, like, we moved there as Americans, and we lived in a condo, and the people there were doing good, making money. And when they would leave the condo, they would get robbed at gunpoint. Okay, and I would just walk out, had dreadlocks. I would just walk out, go through the streets, go to the market, go into poor neighborhoods, and go get my hair cut. Take my son, go get his hair cut, and just be walking around. And if people talk to me, I try to talk to them in Portuguese, but they knew that I was not Brazilian. I mean, they thought I was because I looked like them, but they also thought they knew that I wasn't, and they weren't trying to rob me, right? And I'm just saying, we've seen that. The people there live in fear, continual fear, right? You from here, this is your home, and you can't even go in this neighborhood. And if they would talk to me like, you go out there, you shouldn't go out there. I'm going out here. I'm not trying to act all hard or gangster. This is why they don't mess with me. No, I'm just going out here with the people. And ain't nobody trying to, stick a gun in my face and rob me. And they even see me come out of this gated condo and still ain't messing with me. Okay? And so I'm just saying, like, this is really going on all over the world and even here in America, and even people that are so wealthy that we don't even see them because they're, on another level of wealth. They don't live anywhere near us. They have armed guards and security. Okay? They live in continual fear for a reason, for good reason. Okay? And so, we're given these instructions because the prophet is giving us divine insight, right? Understanding of how not to do. Not saying worry about all that mess. Just saying this is not what we're supposed to be doing. This is not what we're supposed to be recreating. This picture, this image is up here. It's just supposed to be a representation of how our communities are supposed to be, right? And if you're looking at the picture, you might not even be able to tell who's wealthy and who's not. And then maybe you could assume the people dressed a little better, maybe they're wealthy, but guess what? They're assisting. And they can walk freely in the streets without fear of being robbed, kidnapped, held for ransom, right? because they're bringing good to the community, because they're assisting. And this is really where we're being, brought to. This is really where the prophet is raising us up to. It's not just some, oh, I'm a Moor. Oh, I got this paperwork. Man, go on somewhere with that mess. Let's build a community for real. Okay? This is what it's about. We have to raise ourselves up. We have to do the work, to be better people and to do it now so that as we get blessed with even more, right? We already have the divine principles to do good with it, to do greatness with it. And we don't want to be living in fear, especially in fear of our own people. That's ridiculous. But it's like that in America, right? There's neighborhoods and stuff where it's like, look, if you don't know people that live there, even though you look like the people that live there, you probably shouldn't really be there because it's dangerous. Right. So, and yes, eventually, just to answer that question in the chat, brother, yes, it is actually our obligation to start temples in other parts of the world, in the Americas, right? North, South, Central America, and the Atlantis Islands. That's talking about, so-called Latin America. That's talking about the Caribbean. That's what the Atlantis Islands are. So this is our charge. But we can't go do that right now. Where's the Moorish? There's supposed to be a Moorish, at least a neighborhood, right? Right here where we're at. And then maybe a town, right? So we have to do it. We have to get that up and running. And then also because we have to be able to be the example. We can't be pointing the way like a block of wood. Because anybody with sense going to kick that block of wood and be like, get out of my face. Get the hell out of here. What are you talking about? Gone somewhere. So we have to be the example. We have to be it for real. And so then we can assist because there's actually already Moors even in those countries. Because you got people that live here in North America that are from Brazil, that are from Trinidad and all these other places that are Moorish Americans. We just sent out of Fez. We just shipped a Fez to the Bahamas a few days ago. And then a month before that, we shipped 2 out to Puerto Rico. So people are already in all these places. Plus, you got the people from those places that live here in America. Then you have ones that are over there in Trinidad and these other places that know that they're Moors. They're listening, they're paying attention, right? And they want to do it, they want to establish it, but they're not going to be able to even get this to their own people if we don't make it pop off here. If we're not successful right here. That makes sense? The prophet came to us. He was from North Carolina. He made this grow exponentially in Chicago to the point where he had temples in Arkansas, temples in Cleveland, New York, even out to the West Coast, right? All over, the United States. And this is why when he went to Cuba for the Pan American Conference, he was received as a head of state. It's because he got all these people moving in one direction, financially, politically, everything. That did carry weight. They say he established a temple either in Mexico or Cuba. I don't know. But just saying it can happen, but we have to make it pop off here. Okay. So yeah, definitely. That's our charge. And that's why we have these divine instructions, the holy unity of the rich and the poor, so that we know how we are to interact, what we are to do, right? This chapter, it establishes that wealth and poverty are divine, right? Positions that we have, and it's designed to test the character and the faith of each and every one of us, right? So it's actually supposed to be balanced. Like you have the contrast in here of wealth and poverty, and that's supposed to create opportunities for spiritual growth, right? Opportunities for us to dispense charity and humility and to rise up, to have a community that's working together regardless of those stations, right? And understand too, from verse 1, it lets you know right off bat that wealth is a trust. It's not the end goal. It's a means to uplift others and to glorify Allah through service, right? Through service. Look at Surah 57, verse 7 from the Holy Koran of Mecca, speaking about the same thing that we're Allah made us his successors, that we are here to assist, right? So that, people that are wealthy, they're trustees, and they will be held accountable for how they use their abundance. And much of the suffering comes from their own mental, prison that people live in, right? Even poverty can be a blessing because it frees individuals from the burdens of material attachment, and it can potentially bring them closer to spiritual truths. These are all tests that we're all going through, right? And then it lets us know in those verses 9 through 13 about the dangers of wealth without compassion. And that's a warning, right? We ain't trying to get wealth just to hoard wealth and hoard things and oppress others too. That's going too far. But we see that in the world. We can all see these examples taking place in the world. And that disconnects you from divine mercy and spiritual peace. So, in Surah 104, it says, woe to every slanderer and backbiter who amasses wealth and hoards it. Why? Because they're going against divine law, right? They're being separated from Allah's harmony. They're bringing about destruction on themselves, right? So we want to be, of service. And we want to be of service to each other right here and now and always, right? So this is important, for us to take on and understand. We have to, to apply these principles in order to guarantee our earthly and divine salvation. This is what a Moorish American community is supposed to look like, in thoughts, deeds, and actions. All right. And just, on a practical level, with understanding these things, we want to be able to apply this to our lives on a daily basis, right? And when it's saying in here the wealthy need to engage, in charity, this is for all of us, right? Because like I said, man, that is a spiritual law. And this is why wealthy people always get into philanthropy. If they don't think to do that on their own, somebody who's more wealthy than them will come to the side and be like, look, you get into spirit, philanthropy. You need to set up these charities because this is what we do. And this is how our wealth grows, right? And even if they don't understand it, they do it and then they see their wealth growing. So this is what we all need to do, engage in philanthropy. Like, if you have the means, to create things like scholarships and things like that, supporting, others in the community to assist, go for it. But even just at the practical level, doing what we can, even this is why as a temple, we do things like having the clothing drives, the food drives. This is what, this is a practice that we should all be doing, right? Giving, and charity. And those instructions, though, that are in there specifically for people who have the means, investing in others, right? Assisting the underserved community. And then even for people who are, I guess you could say for the poor, still, you have divine instructions in here. It's to cultivate gratitude, focusing on the blessings, the simplicity of life, not getting down on anything about your situation, right? You have health, you have peace of mind. Anything that you have, you need to give gratitude for that. We all should be doing this on a regular basis. These are really instructions for all of us, and as we do these things, the community that we create, that we build will be real. It won't be something that's, built off of falsehood. It won't be like this because the climate that we're in with this nation, we're witnessing the downfall of it. We're seeing it fall. We don't want to continue that. So this shows us chapter 27, that true wealth lies in spiritual alignment with Allah's will, regardless of how much, money we got. True wealth is alignment with Allah's will. It's not material possession. So it doesn't matter if you're rich or poor, right? Ultimately, our purpose is to serve each other, to uphold justice. And this is the only way to really achieve unity and to have a society that reflects divine harmony. So this is what we all should be working on. I'm going to go ahead and end this lesson out, but just will ask you all to reflect on this one question, right? How can I, we should all ask ourselves, how can I use my circumstances, doesn't matter whether you're wealthy or, poor, but how can I use my circumstances to bring peace, unity, to bring upliftment to the community, to my community, just at a practical level, right? It could be donating to a cause, it could be mentoring someone, helping, assisting others, or just practicing gratitude. But just want to end off in that. And on that note, I yield the floor back to the chairman, Brother Cole Bay. And if you Moors have any questions or comments too, you feel free to ask your questions or to speak. Islam.
Yes, Long Grand Sheik, and great measure, the floor is open for any announcements. Islam. Well, there's no questions or announcements. I'd like to announce without further ado, we're going to the closing of the meeting. The covenant of the great God Allah, honor to thy father and thy mother, that thy days will be longer upon the earth land, which the Lord thy God Allah hath given thee. Come all ye Asiatics of America, and hear the truth about your nationality and birthright, because you are not Negroes. Learn of your forefather ancient and divine creed, that you will learn to love instead of hate. We are trying to uplift fallen humanity. Come and link yourselves with the families of nations. We honor all true and divine prophets. The fallen sons and daughters of the Asiatic nations of North America need to learn to love instead of hate, and to know of the higher and lower self. This is the uniting of the Holy Koran of Mecca for the teaching and instructions for all Moorish Americans, etc. The Holy Koran of the Moorish Holy Temple of Science. Know yourself and your Father, God Allah, that you may learn to love instead of hate. Every man needs to worship under his own vine and fig tree, uniting of age. Islam, Islam, Islamism. Islam, Moors, if we are able to, for the closing prayer, rise and face the east yet again, with 2 fingers to the right, 5 to the left, feet in the 45-degree angle on our prayer, on our square. You do not have to repeat after me. Allah, bind our hearts and minds back to our ancient forefathers' divine creed and principles. We ask this in our holy name, in the 7 Elohim. Amen. Islam, Islam, Islamism. Happy Holy Day, Muslims. Peace and love.
Islam, gratitude, brother, and happy Holy Day, Muslims.
Peace and love. Happy holiday. Peace and love. Happy holiday.
Islam, happy holy day.
Happy holiday.
Islam. Happy holiday.